It is a picture-perfect Sunday here at Lincoln Financial Field as our continuing coverage of Philadelphia Eagles training camp presented by Independence Blue Cross brings us to Lincoln Financial Field. Hello, everyone. I'm Eagles insider Dave Spadaro along with Fran Duffy. And Fran, it feels like a fall Sunday here as the Eagles will conduct a scrimmage, an inter-squad scrimmage, and we'll cover the first 25 minutes or so and give you a taste of what it's like here as the Eagles go through all the operational steps of, yes, having a game at Lincoln Financial Field. And by the way, we're 2 weeks away from the start of this regular season.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now, the Eagles are going to be taking on the Washington football team, Dave. And it's just great to be back in this building, right? I mean, it has that feel of a game day. Obviously, no fans in the stands right now, but, you know, the players all drove over in their cars. They went through their pregame routine. I got here to our set about 45 minutes ago, and just seeing the guys go out in the field, warm up, it doesn't feel like any of these training camp practices we've had over the last couple of weeks. It feels like they're getting ready for a game. Yeah, and that's the whole intent here, because let's – paint a picture here. Players don't know, a lot of these players don't know where to go. They don't know where to park. They don't know how to get to the locker room, how to get to the field. So everything done today is in preparation for the 2020 season. And it's a really important day because there are players on the roster bubble who want to make that great last impression. Next week on Saturday, the roster's cut down to 53 players. And then in 1 week from now, the 16-man, up to 16-man practice squad established. So a critical day for the Philadelphia Eagles. The second of two live sessions, meaning, yeah, the players will be tackled to the ground in certain parts of today's work. Fran, let's talk about some of the battles on the roster as we take a look at Jordan Mailata, who all of a sudden is a key figure in an offensive line that has lost some very important pieces. Brandon Brooks, right guard, and left tackle Andre Dillard. Fran, how open are these positions along the offensive line? There's always going to be those camp battles that we all are focused on at this stage of the summer. And this year in 2020, it's all eyes on the offensive line, right? I mean, the defensive line has been so disruptive here in camp, but you mentioned the injuries. Brandon Brooks being lost before training camp, Andre Dillard late this week. So now you have to try and figure out not only who are the best starting five, but who's the best backup swing tackle? Who's the best backup interior offensive line? You're trying to find the best combinations, figure out who works best up front. It's going to be very interesting to see how it looks today. We got a little bit of a peek on Saturday. Expect more of an extended look here today. And so we'll get into this a little bit for you, but clearly the Eagles understanding that in most areas on this roster, they feel really good. Wide receivers, I think, Fran, have stepped up in this training camp period. Carson Wentz has looked terrific. The running backs minus Miles Sanders, who will not practice today, we've seen a lot of good things from Boston Scott, and we've seen a lot of good things from Corey Clement and Elijah Holyfield. Defensively, I happen to think that this secondary, Fran, is so interesting to watch with all the interchangeable pieces. And the D-line that still has not seen Javon Hargrave or Derek Barnett on the field, a group that should be ready to dominate when the regular season begins. The questions, of course, linebacker, right? Yep. We're still a very unproven group. And I think clearly the offensive line is the biggie, and we'll see how they line it up today. On Saturday, we watched as the Eagles went indoors and had Matt Pryor at left tackle, Jordan Mailata working at right tackle with Lane Johnson still day to day. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they line up along the offensive line today. Dave, you mentioned, I mean, when you look at some of the position groups, you feel really good going into the season, about as good as you're going to feel. And then after that, it's about just let's see these young guys play. And I thought Doug Peterson made a great point in his press conference late in the week where he just talked about, look, we've got guys, maybe they don't have experience, but, you know, Halapulavati Vaitai, when he stepped in, as a first-year player, as a second-year player, he didn't have much experience. You know, on the Super Bowl run, he was really kind of figuring it out as he was going along. The Eagles are going to need some of these young guys to step into roles and then, you know, really prove themselves here, not just today, but over the course of the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. Now, as we get into some of the drills, just want to point out to you, and I know you figured it out already, the offense wearing the midnight green jerseys and the white pants, the defense wearing white on white, just for your viewing pleasure so you know who you're watching, what you're watching, and how you're watching it. Nate Herbig factors into that group of inexperienced offensive linemen who
need to step up. This is a rarity that the Eagles, with so many questions along the offensive line going into a season. I mean, they're usually buttoned up to the collar, but not this year. The injury to Brandon Brooks, a significant blow to the group that happened at the end of the virtual offseason program as he was rehabbing his shoulder injury, really just running sprints out at Novacare, at the Novacare complex. And then, of course, Andre Dillard on Thursday suffering the torn biceps and his right bicep, so he is done for quite a while here. I guess the season, although I don't think he's officially been put on IR yet.
Not yet.
We'll see what that move is made. So we look at Dallas Goedert, who appears to not be practicing, no pads on for him. But he will be a key player, of course, in this Eagles offense, teaming with hey, big play Slay. We got you, baby. We got you. Pose for the camera. Yeah.
You've gotten better at not calling him Darius.
I'm not calling him Darius. It's Slay or big play Slay. Yeah. I hope they know that the entire world of Eagles fans is watching. It's not just those in the stadium. Yeah, they're not the only ones watching themselves here. And so maybe you can hear in the background, they're pumping in the sound, the music, the noise, replicating the fans. There's a group of media sitting in the stands, lower level. Otherwise, the stadium seats are empty.
Does it feel, the added sound, what's your takeaway? You're at the stadium every game day.
Look, I mean, I am so thrilled to be here.
Yeah.
The stadium looks gorgeous. The field looks amazing. There's not the usual pomp and circumstance. You know, on a 1 o'clock game day, I'm usually at the stadium by about 9:30, and you see the crowd grow by the dozen, by the dozen, by the hundreds, by the hundreds, by the thousands. And then all of a sudden you look up and it's a filled house and everybody's on their feet roaring. And there's a flyover, and there's cheerleaders, and there's swoop, and there's the pep band, and that's not here, Fran.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you that it is an exact duplication because my heart won't allow that, but it does feel wonderful to be here at Lincoln Financial Field.
Even not having the tailgaters out front when we drove over, certainly a little bit of a difference. And you covered that with Eagles president Don Smolinski on the most recent Eagles Insider podcast. Make sure you guys go find that wherever podcasts can be found. Dave, you mentioned, we see Jason Kelce there. You mentioned Nate Herbig earlier, and just going back to that offensive line, and you talk about who are those guys that can factor in at multiple positions. We know that man, Isaac Seumalo, has the ability to play a number of spots, including the center position. Nate Herbig has practiced at center at right guard. Matt Pryor has practiced at both tackle spots and at right guard. Then you look at Jason Peters, obviously all the reps this week, or this summer at right guard, has the ability to slide out to left tackle. Jordan Mailata, both tackle spots. Jack Driscoll, right guard, right tackle, and he can slide over to the left side as well. So with all of those guys, with all that versatility, you've got a lot of different possibilities for combinations and trying to figure out what's the best group going into week one.
Yeah, but let's be honest here, and let's slow down on the, hey, he can slide here, hey, he can play there. Jack Driscoll's never played an NFL game.
No question.
Jordan Mailata's never played an NFL game. So there's a lot of inexperience here. Jalen Mills does what he does, and that is get into the groove before the action starts. He's always dancing.
Always, with and without the ball, as he has made it a point to make sure that the media knows after he makes a play, this is what I do.
If you are just joining us, we are at Lincoln Financial Field, our continuing coverage of Eagles Training Camp 2020 presented by Independence Blue Cross continues as the Eagles prepare today for their final live session of this 2020 training camp. It'll be a squad scrimmage. I'm Eagles insider Dave Spadaro, joined by Fran Duffy, the host of the Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast, Journey to the Draft podcast as well. And I've really enjoyed opening up the curtain here, Fran, in this late summer and showing the fans as much as we are permitted to show you of the 2020 Eagles team. New players, new personalities, some new starters, new concepts. Interested to see what this offense looks like when it begins. Particularly, you know, you come in here, you bring in Rich Scangarello, you bring back Marty Morningweg, you bring in fresh eyes, some fresh ideas, and then you lose the offensive line.
Yeah.
And does that impact what you do? Are you going to get the ball out of Carson's hands more quickly? Are you going to roll the pocket? Are you going to use 2 and 3 tight ends more? Deshaun Jackson is saying, yeah, I miss this field so much because I've had a lot of success at Lincoln Financial Field.
I remember the last time he took the field here at Lincoln Financial Field with 2 touchdowns right in front of where we're sitting right now in this northeast end zone. Dave, to me, you look at the defensive side too, and you add Marquand Manuel to the back end. You add Matt Burke as the defensive line coach. And, the Eagles now 3 different former coordinators as position coaches on that side of the ball. So, you have new ideas on offense, new ideas on defense, while the core leadership of this team is still in place. Every team, every year is always going to be a little bit different, have a little bit of a different identity. That usually speaks to the players, but I think with the coaching staff this year, a lot of different things I think we'll see on the field this fall. I'm excited for it.
I think our cameras should just do the ISOs on players who want to preen for the camera, because I think that those guys don't realize that we're actually broadcasting
No,
this.
I don't think so.
And Nate Gary's giving us the gun show. Avante Maddox, a little dancing going on. I think that's Avante. Could be Will Parks. That could be Will Parks.
Yeah, I think it was Will Parks, yep.
We're actually looking at the feed from the stadium boards, and we've got a lot of different camera angles. And if you would like to control your own camera angles from the palm of your hand, just download the Eagles mobile app. If you haven't done it already, why haven't you? One of the many great features is when we have practice sessions like this, and we're going to have some of these during the season, we hope, that you control the camera angles. Come on, Deshaun, do something. Take off the mask and sing. I don't know, do something. Do a breakout, do a little touchdown dance. There he goes. There's Duke Riley. Amazingly, at 224 pounds, will be a key linebacker for a group that not a whole lot of people know about.
Linebacker position, a lot different now than it was a decade ago, Dave. A guy like Duke Riley would not have been a starting linebacker in the NFL in the days of Jeremiah Trotter, for sure. He brings great energy to the field, though. He's a fun player to watch, defense and special teams.
Alshon Jeffrey still not practicing. No timetable on his return, as we see Jeffrey Lurie there. But the Eagles say that he's coming along very well. 2 weeks away from the opener, Fran. It could be very difficult for him to get back for the Washington football team.
Yeah, he's been on the sideline every day, working with the guys. He's right there along with the offense. Typically playing with, throw and catch with his teammates on the sideline. So definitely a big part still of what's going on in that receiver room.
Zach Ertz, one of the great tight ends in the National Football League, who's, I believe the number is 64 catches away from shattering the all-time franchise record for most receptions in a career, currently held by the great Harold Carmichael at 589. Pro Football Hall of Fame, Harold Carmichael.
I would say he's got a decent shot at that this year, Dave.
Yeah. Second-round draft pick Jalen Hurts wearing the red jersey, and the red jersey means do not touch. I think we should call Isaac Seumalo Simba with that mane of hair that he's got going on.
One of my favorite shots that we've ever gotten here with Eagles Entertainment was a slow-mo shot of Isaac taking the helmet off and that hair just exploding out of the back of the helmet.
I wonder what that feels like.
It's been a few years.
Been like about 55 of them. Even when I had hair, I didn't have that hair.
What'd you think of Nate Gary last year, Dave? We just saw him and Duke Riley on the screen.
I would say, Fran, one of the most improved players on the team.
I agree.
Proved himself to be a solid linebacker and a core special teams member. And he was kind of banged up during the year, too. He was battling some injuries. So I think he'll only get better and better here. Clearly knows the defense. And I just believe this about the linebackers. You spend your money on the D-line, as the Eagles do. You spend your money at cornerback, as the Eagles do. And if you have a great defensive line, your linebackers are running free to the football. And that's what I expect this group of linebackers to do this year. So I know they are not as heralded. They are not as highly rated. Their job will be to get to the football, diagnose, get to the football, and tackle securely. And it seems like we'll find out a little bit more today, Fran. We've only seen this group tackle one day.
Right. We saw number 57 there, T.J. Edwards, going into his second year. Made this team out of camp as an undrafted free agent a year ago. He's more of that throwback player, Dave. We talked about how the linebackers today look a little bit different. TJ Edwards, I mean, he played at Wisconsin. He was a tackle machine, over 100 tackles every season, over 245 pounds. He was a big boy, so he can come downhill and make plays. And he's looked good here in camp. He had a leaping interception down in the red zone a few practices ago. Very active yesterday, I thought, or on Thursday in practice. He's had a good summer.
You know, I look at Crayvon LeBlanc, one of those very good players, and I say to myself, how's it going to work out in the secondary? Crayvon LeBlanc, Rasul Douglas, Sidney Jones back on the field.
Yep.
Sidney Jones needs to show up, right? He's been hurt. He hasn't played. He needs to show up today because I think there's some serious competition in that secondary.
He returned back to team drills yesterday in the bubble, so this is big for him. You know, being able to get his feet wet yesterday, now show up in this scrimmage. Rasul Douglas had an interception the other day. You talk about the competition there at the cornerback spot. Clock's ticking over the next few days.
Now there's a player who's going to make the team, Jalen Reagor.
Yeah.
There's another player who's going to make the team, Jason Kelsey. Let's just shoot all the J's out there. The big ones, big guys. Vinny Curry not practicing today, probably a maintenance day for him, who knows. Corey Clement, I think he's looked good. I think today is a very big day for Corey Clement, as we do have live portions of this practice. I think Jalen Mills has been very natural at the safety position.
He's looked very good.
It seems, look, it's very hard to tell. Even when the Eagles have won deep, it's not because of blown coverages.
Right.
Deshaun just runs faster than everybody else.
Right.
And it's been interesting watching Deshaun and Big Play Slay. They go at it, and it's going to make them both better players. Deshaun Jackson still has the juice.
No question. Thursday's practice, Deshaun scored on a deep post route over the top against Big Play Slay. A couple periods later, they went back to it. Slay jumps up, gets the pass break up like 40 yards downfield. So those guys going back and forth the other day.
Very key that Deshaun Jackson stays healthy this year. The Eagles offense lost so much of its explosiveness last year. We are offering you today our continuing coverage of Eagles Training Camp 2020, presented by Independence Blue Cross. We're here at Lincoln Financial Field for the Eagles intra-squad scrimmage, if you will, Fran. I'm Eagles insider Dave Spadaro with Fran Duffy, and we've really enjoyed bringing this peek behind the curtains to you the last couple of weeks. We've got another one coming your way on Tuesday, and then during the regular season, we hope to bring one per week. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And I know that we don't get to show when they break into formation, but you're getting a sense here of what this football team at least looks like. The defense today dressed white on white. The offense dressed midnight green jerseys, white pants. Which is your favorite uniform? Green on white or white on white?
Green on white.
Yeah, I like green on white too.
I've always been a big, growing up in the Philadelphia area, all the jerseys I had, the large majority were the green on whites. And the only white one I can remember having, I had a white Hugh Douglas jersey, number 53. That was the only thing, maybe the only white. Maybe I had a white McNabb as well.
So I'm a couple of years older than you. I remember the white on white on white, the white helmet, the white jersey, the white pants of the early 70s, really bad Philadelphia Eagles football teams, but really boss jerseys.
That's a word to describe it, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess back then we would call them groovy. I'm not even aware of any plans for alternate jerseys this year. That's how kind of like day by day we take everything.
There are so many other details that we have to worry about with all the new protocols that the things that we typically would worry about don't even come to the forefront at all.
Jason Peters, age 38, 17th NFL season, returned to the Eagles after Brandon Brooks was injured to play right guard. And one of the looming questions is, will he stay at right guard, or will the Eagles move him to left tackle? It's hard to argue anything other than this. If you project an offensive line with Jason Peters at left tackle, Matt Pryor at right guard, that is the most experienced combination with Lane Johnson at right tackle, Jason Kelsey at center, Isaac Seumalo at the left guard position. So we'll see where they line it up today. Doug Peterson did not sound to be in any kind of hurry making a decision with.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see exactly what that combination looks like. And obviously, they know they can always move Jason Peters over there. Now important to get those reps for those young guys.
And so we see that the two quarterbacks throwing the football are Nate Sudfeld, Jalen Hurts. Carson Wentz is dressed in a long sleeve t-shirt. And we don't know what that means.
My assumption would be that he is not going to be practicing today in the scrimmage.
Huh. That's intriguing. I don't really know what to make of that, Fran.
We'll get a long look at Nate Sudfeld and Jalen Hurts today, that's for sure.
I'm trying to locate Carson on the field. I don't see him. He practiced yesterday.
He did practice yesterday.
So we're just letting you know that Carson Wentz not in uniform. We're trying to find out the details. If we don't get them for you during the course of our broadcast here, please make sure to be with us on PhiladelphiaEagles.com, our official app, as well as our social media channels for when the word comes down about Carson. At the moment, though, as you know, Eagles only have 3 dressed quarterbacks today. They have got just 2. It's an absolutely beautiful day here at Lincoln Financial Field as the Eagles going through their paces, preparing for the regular season today. For all the new players, get a sense of the dimensions of this stadium, how to get to and from the locker room and to and from the field. And, you know, it's been interesting in the past during preseason games to see players literally not sure where to go when they come off the field.
You know, we call that third preseason game the dress rehearsal every year. This is it. This is the dress rehearsal for this team this year. In a lot of ways. And, you know, that third preseason game, we talk about how jobs can be won and lost. And as guys figure out everything off the field as well, this scrimmage here today, a little bit of both here as the Eagles getting ready for week 1.
I could feel the bass thumping. It's just a perfect day, though. High 70s, light winds. Jake Elliott's thrilled about that. You know, I asked Jake what it would be like to kick without fans, and would they alter the wind patterns, and he doesn't know, obviously, but I got to believe it's got
That's
some.
That's fascinating, yeah.
It's got to believe some, and then, you know, just not having the noise, and it's got to be some, I don't know, what would you say, a meteorological difference? I don't know.
I got to think so, right? Who
Flow?
would answer? Who would be able to give us the answer to that question?
I don't know. Hurricane Schwartz from our broadcast partner, NBC 10. Paging Hurricane Schwartz, paging Hurricane Schwartz. If you take 68,000 fans out of a stadium, does it change the airflow?
It is gorgeous out today, though. Beautiful day. I mentioned I was out here a little bit early, and Jake Elliott was working with Cam Johnson, with Rick Lovato. He was hitting 50-plus consistently on both sides of the field. He's looked good.
So we know his range is at least 61 yards.
Yep, yes.
But I never really see him taking 65-yard warm-ups, or I never see him trying to just test the boundaries.
What's been your favorite walk-off win here at Lincoln Financial Field?
Well,
is that it?
was the Matt Ware fumble return
Was that a
I don't know
walk-off
if that was
play?
a walk-off.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a walk. I know it was late.
I would say
no.
I would say the win over like the 4th and 26.
Okay,
Yeah.
4th and 26.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
probably. Any overtime victory?
Sure. David Akers against the Giants. What was that? 2006.
Yeah. Even last year in the overtime game against the Giants, that ugly Monday night game where the Eagles trailed at halftime and then came roaring back. Davion Taylor, Eagles 3rd-round draft pick, who's got a lot to learn. There are your 2 quarterbacks who are dressed today, Jalen Hurts, Nate Sudfeld. I think it's going to be really good for Nate to work with the one step.
Yes, definitely will be.
He needs to let it go. Let it rip down the field.
They've mixed him in here and there with the ones just to give him reps with that first group. Obviously, he'll see a lot more reps with that group today.
I still don't have a sense of where the Eagles are lining up the offensive line as we see the D-line in its usual place. South end zone, east side of the corner of the end zone. That's where the D-line gets together and just shows some great, great energy. So everything is really, really trying to replicate game day. And then the other side of the end zone is the offensive line. And there's Deshaun Jackson, who's looked very good all summer.
Has not lost a step. Jalen Hurts, who has had his moments.
Here's the question with Jalen Hurts. I mean, I would basically say that any rookie quarterback at this point who's missed the entire spring, no preseason games, you'd kind of classify him as a one-read and then tuck it and run quarterback. Just because you just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks coming out, regardless if they have that full offseason, that's how they have to play.
And we see how tremendously dangerous he is as a runner. Will the Eagles put in packages for Jalen Hurts?
That's the question.
Yeah. You can dress 2 extra players this year, right? Is that right? Or there's 2 extra active players?
Yeah, I have to go back and read through those rules. I haven't looked at them in a few weeks. There is something to that effect.
So in theory, you could keep 3 quarterbacks active every week. So in theory, you could put in packages. I'm not sure I'm down with taking Carson Wentz off the field.
Of course.
But it does give defenses something else to think about. Welcome to our continuing coverage of Eagles Training Camp 2020 presented by Independence Blue Cross. We're here live at Lincoln Financial Field on a picture-perfect Sunday morning. I'm Eagles insider Dave Spadaro along with Fran Duffy, pulling back the curtain here as the Eagles get ready for their final kind of full pads, and there's Carson. Looks good, looks fine, looks healthy. Talking with Zach Ertz, the long-haired Zach Ertz, the full head of hair Zach Ertz. Crazy with the do.
If only all of us could come out of quarantine looking like Zach Ertz.
Yeah. I think that might be one of the more improved players in this camp,
No
J.J.
question.
Arcega-Whiteside.
Absolutely. He's had a good summer. It was good to be able to see, obviously started injured, so he's on the sideline for the first few practices. We were all kind of anxious to see what he would look like. Stepped right in with the first team his first day back. It was a walkthrough that day. So we said, all right, well, what about when they go live action? What's it going to look like? Comes in and every day, he's made big catches. They work in the red zone, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. He's getting separation. He's going up and over people. He's making catches to the ground. Carson's showing faith in him. He's working with the twos, and he's Nate Sudfeld showing a good relationship with him. He's looked good. He's had a nice summer.
Now he's just got to take that to September. He had a nice summer last year.
Yes, correct.
And then it just didn't translate into the regular season. Obviously, a world of difference, even more pronounced this year. And again, I predict this. Offensive lines around the league will have some issues. So you might see some jailbreaks, but I also think you'll see some big plays from offenses against defenses that just haven't had enough time together in a new system, new players. Should be very exciting to watch the NFL when it all opens up on September 10th, and then, of course, the Eagles at Washington September 13th. There's JJ running around.
Yep.
We'll come back. Very basic stuff.
They're going through the drills to do every single pregame. This is all the same pregame drills they're going to do every single Sunday. Looks like they're starting to wrap it up. Well, at least from an individual standpoint.
Yeah, they would normally do drills from the end zone where they would have the offense and the defense. Let's see if they do that.
Yeah.
So we will keep you updated on all of the latest on the Philadelphia Eagles on this Sunday as we monitor what's going on with the team, who's practicing, who is not practicing. We thank you for joining us as we continue our coverage of the Eagles 2020 training camp, presented by Independence Blue Cross. And the word on Carson Wentz, lower body injury listed as day to day. We'll follow up with that a little bit later on. For Fran Duffy, I'm Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. Have yourselves a great Eagles day, and fly, Eagles, fly.